Welcome to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. I've uploaded hundreds of talks here that I've recorded at meetings in West LA, and I've also recorded conventions starting in 2013. I've got a bunch of those up. And Walt and Mary Murray, the original owners of Encore Audio Archives, started the company in the 80s, and Walt recorded Joe and Charlie's and a bunch of stuff down in Vista, California. My sobriety date is June 20th of 1994. I hope you find something you like, so please like and subscribe to my channel and comment down below. If you want to hear something that I don't have or that you don't see, I'll see that I get it. Anyways, take care and have a great day if you want to.
This is a one-speaker meeting. Please welcome our speaker tonight, Kenny.
I was all ready for the break. Hi, everybody. Kenny Davis, alcoholic, and, cocaine pig, and former exotic dancer. It's always nice to be asked to come back to Marina Club and speak here. The enthusiasm in this room is just overwhelming, so I like it. I think enthusiasm is the key to sobriety. If you're enthused about your sobriety, you usually keep it, and I'm still enthused about it. I didn't have a drink today. Of course, it's early. And I had my last drink of alcohol on January 11th, 1986. Haven't had a drink since. Did have a small, hardly worth mentioning, very tiny, minuscule 18-month cocaine slip that tended to change my sobriety date. And from the time I stopped drinking till the time I relapsed till the time I got sober is my whole story. I drank because I liked it. I liked drinking. I liked drinking a lot. And when I found speed and cocaine, I could drink more. And unfortunately for guys like me, the alcohol, the body breaks way before the alcohol and drugs run out. And I don't know when I became an alcoholic, and I don't care. I don't need to know all that stuff. All I need to know is that I don't drink. And not only do I not drink, I'm happy about not drinking. That's what Alcoholics Anonymous has given me. Has given me the fact that not only do I not drink or do drugs, but I am really happy about it. I drank for a long time. I drank way past the time that I should have stopped. I tried to stop and I couldn't. And if you tried to stop and you couldn't, you're probably a little like me. If you tried to stop and you couldn't stop and you couldn't tell anybody you couldn't stop, you're exactly like me. Because anybody with any kind of character or willpower should be able to just stop. If your life is shit, quit. If alcohol is the core of your problem, just say no. And remember in the 80s when Nancy Reagan said that, you do drugs, just say no. Just say no. Some of us drug addicts require a little more information than just say no. It's like telling the homeless, just get a house. You'll be fine. I just love speaking here. I want to thank Dave for asking me to come over and just share the good news tonight. And there are no lectures to endure. I'm not going to give you any instructions. And I'm excited about the new people that took chips and stood up. And I don't give advice to guys I sponsor. I just tell them what I did, and they can do whatever they want. And that's pretty much what that book says. When I came in the first time, I was a smart ass. I still am. I remember guys used to give me instructions on how to do this deal and advice and unsolicited control. And I would say, in this book right here, this is the AA book, right? Right here it says, these are the guys that wrote the book. They say, we realize we know only a little. What do you suppose that means? Because you just told me you know a lot. And I got my friend Dan here with his lovely bride here tonight, and Dan's the guy that I met, spoke at Malibu last month, and the secret of my sobriety is just that I was able to ask God to help me. I said, please help me, to a God I didn't know anything about, but I was in a place where I had no wiggle room left, no lateral movement, and all I could say was, please help me. If you don't remember anything I say tonight, I will establish in the next 20 minutes that I'm an arrogant egomaniac, but I was rendered to a place where I could only say, please help me. And when I finished speaking at Malibu, and I got to meet Dan in the line, and he didn't even say hello, he just said, please help me. And I love you for that, man. That's big balls. And I'm an Irishman, I cry in anything. I'm a product of Catholic schools. I'm not a recovering Catholic. I think that's kind of arrogant. When I did my four-step, and I highly recommend doing a four-step, I think it's very important. I think a lot of the steps are very important. I think the meetings are very important. I think the conventions are very important. The sponsoring, God is very important. But the most important part is that not drinking part. At least my sponsor thought so. That the most important part is the first half of the first step. I remember my sponsor used to say, failure to properly do step one could be fatal. And I said, oh, then that's a really important. I'll be sure I do that one diligently, And he said, now we get to step two. This step here is the most important step in the entire program. Failure to do step two could be actually fatal. And along about step 5, I realized he was going to say that about every one of them sons of bitches, and he did. In fact, my sponsor started me on step 7, the humble step. And I said, why can't I start on step 1 like everybody else? He said, because you won't be around long enough to get to this one. He said, you'll be long gone before we get to this one. So we're going to start on the humble step, and we're going to try to be humble and get some humility, which is and he was absolutely right. He was absolutely right. But I remember going to Catholic school, and when I did my four-step, and I was a smart-ass kid too, and I'd cause trouble because nowadays you'll be an excessive need for attention, it actually explains why I became an entertainer, why I became a folk singer and a comic and an actor that works now and then. And a guitar player, because I crave more attention than the normal person. I don't know why. I don't care to know why. I just did. And in school, I was the same way. The more I could screw with the nuns, the better I liked it, because I was very popular. He said, you won't believe what Kenny Davis did to this nun. Man. One time we made darts. And this is in the old days when the nuns wore the full battle shit, the 80 pounds of wool. And had that face taped up, and they're always pissed off. If you taped your face and wore 80 pounds of wool on a hot day, you'd be testy too. They never smiled or nothing, man. But when I did my four-step, I realized they weren't beating all the children. Not everyone is being. One nun beat me so hard on the tops of my palms, I think I started a bonfire in the clothes closet. That was one of those days. Bring a little thing of lighter fluid and light everybody's clothes on fire, but it was exciting. How'd the fire start? And I'm standing there, just. But she beat me so hard that she wore herself out. She was out of breath. I'm sitting there getting beat, and I remember I saying to her consciously, 11 years old, I looked her right in the eye and said, "You'll never make me cry, you bitch." I think that's alcoholic in training. Where did I read that in some book in AA? The outstanding characteristic of every alcoholic is defiance, but she just kept beating me, and she says, "Oh, just stand there. I'm out of breath. Oh, let me catch my breath. Don't go anywhere." You know. And what happened, I went home and my hands were so swollen I couldn't eat. And of course, my dad, being an alcoholic, what's the matter? And my old man was an alcoholic. Alcoholics are very busy people. They're always busy, recovering from it, getting more, and going to jail, and getting sober, and getting all. So he didn't have time to be a dad because he was a very busy alcoholic. It takes a lot of your time. Don't have time for families. So what the hell happened to you? And I didn't want to rat out this nun. So I just said I fell on the playground, but moms know. I have such respect for mothers, and if there's any moms here tonight, happy Mother's Day. On Sunday, I won't be here to wish you then, but we love you, and happy Mother's Day to you. And that night my mom came in, and moms know, and she goes, "Okay, what really happened?" And I went, and then I start crying. I said, "Well, she beat the shit out of me. I didn't do anything." See, because until you do a four-step, you didn't do anything. It's always them. And it's never alcoholism. It's always a little bad luck. I would have won a lot of fights I got into if I hadn't been really drunk. I mean, I could have got him if I'd been sober. But I got my ass kicked a lot. I'd always hit the biggest guy, And they say if you establish yourself, like they say prison things, you go right up to the biggest guy and hit him in the face. I got to tell you, that's not my experience. You hit the biggest guy in the bar in the face, the biggest guy in the bar will kick your ass. That's what happens. I remember one guy wanted to fight me one time. He says, "I'm going to tell you something, you son of a bitch. I have never lost a fight in my life." And I said, "I've never won. Let's go." I think my fighting record was 0-200. I said, "Let's go, man. You might be my first win." So, anyway, my mom said, "Don't worry, honey." My mom said, "Don't worry, honey, it's going to be all right." And mothers have just a knack for doing that, just making everything okay at the moment. "Don't worry, honey, it's going to be okay. We'll go to the school tomorrow. We'll straighten it out, and don't worry." And really, Mom, yeah, it's going to be all right. Kind of like God does. It's going to be all right. Just, you stay sober long enough to do these steps. It's going to be all right. You don't have a job? That's all right. You just need to work on your sobriety. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. This is all we hear around you. It's going to be all right. And guess what? It is all right. It gets all right. And so the next day, my mom went to the school with me and beat the shit out of the nun. Which got me into public school the next day. And I don't know if I'm still a Catholic. They never sent me a letter, but till the day she died, my mother swore. She swore. She said, "I never, ever did the things that you say when you speak at those meetings." I said, "Mom," she said, "I never hit that nun." My mom is South Boston Irish Catholic, and we have priests and nuns in our family. And she said, "I would never hit a nun." I said, "Mom, you threw her around the classroom, and you threw her into the blackboard. You knocked her down. You kicked her a couple times. I didn't hit her. But my mom became more of my hero than she already was when she beat the shit out of that nun and said, "You'll never hit my kid again, you son of a bitch, ever," And so then I sailed into public school, became very popular. Hit the biggest guy the first day of school, and he beat the shit out of me, and was moved on. So, but I went through school, and then just like everybody, we started drinking beer in high school. But I was always the one that people would notice, and they said, "Kenny never wants to go home as long as there's still some beer left." And it's 4 a.m, and the keg's still. What do you mean go home? We'll go home. You'll sleep when you're dead. Come on. I learned that early on, and And then I went in the military, and I was stuck with the Marine Corps for 4 years at Camp Pendleton, where I really learned how to drink because I was in the Navy, stuck with the Marines, and like a schizophrenic. I wore a Marine uniform, but I wasn't a Marine. I was a hospital corpsman, where I learned how to, really learned how to do dextroamphetamine sulfate and benzoamphetamine sulfate and speed, and could talk for a long time. And I remember Speed Freaks. And by the way, I'd like to welcome any tweakers that are here tonight. If you're here, man, you're welcome. You're welcome in any Alcoholics Anonymous meeting that I'm at. I love the tweakers. I brought my friend Tim. He's a tweaker tonight. Tim's not only a tweaker, he's a Venice tweaker. I mean, he's got some image. But because a lot of the tweakers, I spoke at a convention once. I said, tweakers don't, they didn't drink enough to go to AA, and they fall through the cracks, and they didn't do enough cocaine to go to CA, and they didn't do enough heroin to go to NA, and so I love you, and you're welcome if you're a tweaker here as a crystal meth freak. Because I'll tell you why, I love people that can thread a sewing machine while it's running. It's a great skill, For those of you who have attempted to disassemble an iPod and put it back together again, Tim told me the toasters were very popular, that little wires and shit. And you have to have the magnifying glass over your eye with a light, But if you can't tell, I have a lot of fun in sobriety. I really do. When I was new, I didn't think there was any chance I'd ever have fun again, and I would never laugh again. And it was very hard for me because I was a comedian performing and working, and it's very hard to think that your career's over. And would that be okay if you were never funny again? And it couldn't be anything further from the truth. I'm funnier now than I ever was. I just do different things, and I like not drinking, and I like getting up in the morning and asking God to help me every morning. And he's doing good today so far. I haven't had a drink or anything, and I haven't thought about it. But when I got out of the military, I was drinking pretty good, and I didn't want to work. I got out of the military. I just wanted to be a beach bum. because I was a pretty good swimmer. So I got my water safety instructor patch from the American Red Cross when I was in the military, and I got my life-saving senior thing. So I got a job as a lifeguard. And if I was a lifeguard today, you probably wouldn't swim out quite as far. But I was a swimming son of a bitch then, I want to tell you. So I moved to Catalina. I moved to Catalina and was over there in the early 60s. And that's where I really learned how to drink wine, Red Mountain wine, $1.49 a gallon. And we each had our own gallon. Don't share. And then I met this Catalina surfer chick, and we fell in love, and we were together just solidly the whole summer together. And then I was going to go to college and play baseball on a scholarship, and I sailed away on the steamer and waved to her. It was very dramatic. And then a month later, she called me, and I asked her to marry me by saying, "You're what? That's impossible. How could you be pregnant? What about me? What about my needs?" And sure enough, she was pregnant. And we didn't even entertain an abortion because in those days it was, hangar in Tijuana. That's in those days. And those people that are old enough to remember that, it was horrible, the choice. And a lot of people died. And so I ended up getting a great son. It's still my son. And he's... It's so funny, when I made my amends to him, that ninth step, failure to do that ninth step could be fatal. And I would recommend having the list before that and become willing to do it. I remember when I did the eighth step, I said, I'm not making a list, goddammit, because and I'm not willing to make amends. He said, you're only on the second step. Well, I know when I get there I'll feel that way. He said, you'll be drunk way before then. Just do this for today, and then go drink, My sponsor was mean. He used to say things like, my day goes better when you're not in it. I said, I have a Rolex, Paul. He said, I have 3. My sponsor was a very successful director. And boy, I remember when I found that out at a month's sobriety, I thought, holy shit, I'm an actor, you're a director. God is great. Isn't he great? He goes, till you get a year of sobriety, you're just some guy at a meeting. You're just my sponsee, and I'm your sponsor, and there's nothing, we ain't going to talk anything about show business. And it's really sad, too, because I'm directing a Kojak in New York next week, and there's a part that would have been perfect for you. Had you had a year of sobriety. And I said, that's bullshit. And at the break on the meeting, we went out and looked, and sure enough, man, in the script, it was a perfect description of me, and I'm going, and I didn't have a job. And I didn't have any money. And he used to go, isn't that great? You don't have any money. He used to get off, and he said, oh, she left? Oh, that's great. Isn't that great? Get a chance to go to more meetings and help guys. Give you a chance to do your 4-step. That's great. I heard your car blew up. Isn't that great? I tell you, I heard that shit for 5 years, man. Isn't that great? And here it is all these years later. It's great. I tell guys I sponsor, isn't that great? Don't Tim. Anyway, I have to qualify. At the end of my drinking, I was working with my own band. I mean, I started working in little cocktail bars, and I was a folk singer. I'd sing the shit out of Kumbaya. And we had a group in Catalina called the Red Mountain Boys. God, I wonder where we got that name. It was a bluegrass group, the Red Mountain Boys, and then it wasn't because of the mountain. And then I started playing in saloons, and then I started playing in some little bigger shitholes, and then I got a band, and we started playing some better places, and ended up playing Las Vegas, and my career was sailing right along really good, and the drinking was going really good, and right along with it, and I remember one time my band had a group conscience. They didn't call it that. They just called it a vote, and they said, we voted that you need to stop drinking because in the second show, you're an asshole. You tell the same joke 3 times and get pissed when they don't laugh the 3rd time. And you play wrong chords, you yell at us, you yell at the waitresses, you're red-faced, look like you're going to have a stroke in any minute. And I said, when is that? He said, in the second show. And I said, I don't even know we do a second show. I don't give a shit. Nobody's ever been discovered in a second show. How was I in the first show? Well, you're always great in the first show. You're always great. And, well, so there it is then. We're done, but unfortunately, I started traveling with a country act that was very successful and touring with them, and it was sex, drugs, rock and roll through the 80s. And damn it, he got sober, the leader of this group, and he said, if you don't stop drinking and using, you're going to be fired. So I entertained the idea of stopping, and on January 11th of 1986, I had my last drink and drug, and at that time, and I went about a week without drinking. And it's amazing how the organs of your body get very grateful. It's like your liver goes, thank you so much for stopping for a little while. And you can breathe through your nose, which is amazing. And I used to have to do this. What time is it? Went to my first meeting. I was sober maybe a month, and my friend called from Nashville. He said, you need to go to a meeting. And God was in the mix in all this. He sent me to the right meeting. He sent me to, of all the meetings in L.A., he sent me to 4343 Radford, the old Radford group. And I went there in a noon meeting, and I was late. And I had an $8,000 Rolex President on, about $600 in my pocket, and an attitude. And I walked in this half measures room where they have the coffee, and I walked up to the guy and I said, "Hey man, how much is a coffee? Give me a cup of coffee. How much is it?" And of course he knows I'm new, because if you're new, it's free. It's free. And he knew I was new. He said, "It's $10, you know," and I didn't even blink, man. I got out my money clip, laid a 10 on there, probably helped some crippled AA guy, and then now I go in the meeting, and they're having the 7th tradition. They're passing the basket, and everybody's putting $1 in, the cheap sons of bitches, you know, and I put in a 20, and I waved it and made sure they saw it, too, and now I'm $30 into this meeting, and I haven't heard anything. I said, this better be good for $30, you know. You can see Elvis for 22, you know, and he's dead. So now I noticed that behind the podium was a serenity prayer, and being a Catholic, I noticed that there was too many thes in it. It was the courage, the wisdom, you know, the serenity. And I chose to share that with one of my new AA friends. I leaned over and I said, "I think that serenity prayer is incorrect. I've been a member for 10 minutes, and I've already found something wrong with it." And I said, "I think there's too many thes in the serenity prayer." And he didn't even look at me. He just looked forward and said, "We don't give a shit what you think." And I remember thinking, obviously he has not seen my Rolex yet, because he's wearing a goddamn Casio. How could a guy with a Casio know anything? I'd have a Casio if I could read the damn things. I'm too old now. But God was in the mix. I know that God was in my chest when I drew breath and saw light the first time. I know this God has been with me my entire life, through the good, through the bad, through all the times. And I am convinced of that to my soul, that God was always there. I couldn't hear him, though. I was too busy talking. And it's amazing how the pride and the ego always talks first, talks the loudest. And that quiet God voice in there going, "Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?" You can't. So I know God was in the mix, and the guy at the podium, just like this, pointed to me and said, "Well, the guy with the beard, you want to share?" I didn't know what sharing was. I've only been a member 10 minutes. And but I knew it was about talking, so I stood up and I told him what kind of guitar. "Oh, here's my ride. I have to go." "It's okay. Tim's all right. He won't have to go this time." Your heart's okay? Everything's good? Okay, good. I don't want you going down during a speak. No, I don't want you flat on the floor interrupting my talk. I got some strong shit to talk about. Tim grades me when I speak. He always does. The guy pointed to me. I stood up. I started telling him what kind of guitar I played, how famous I was, where I was working, who famous I knew, and the "Who Are You" birds got me, and they're still around. They say, "Who are you? Who 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 are you?" Bunch of goddamn cult people with Kool-Aid. "Who are you?" And I said, "What are they saying?" And they said, "They want you to say your name." I said, "I'm not going to say my name. This is Alcoholics Anonymous. I know what that means. I was an English major, for Christ's sake. Anonymous." And then they go, "Well, sit down then. God damn it, sit down. Sit down." It was a room full of people that needed an Al-Anon meeting, you know? And I'm also a 12-year member of the Al-Anon family group, too. I'm a member of Al-Anon. I love Al-Anon. And it's made my sobriety more rich, because when I went to Al-Anon and they said, "Their sobriety is really none of your business." Whoa, I'd never heard that before. This guy came toward me, and I was sure he was going to hit me. And I thought if I hit him first, I could win. Now, he was probably coming to hug me, to say, hey, man, you're a stranger in a strange land, and I'm here to help you, you know, because that's what we do. So I hit him in the face, and he went over the chairs, and they threw me out. But you know, God was in the mix. When they threw me out, there was a little lady at the door who was to become my angel. She was a sweetheart, and I miss her every day. Her name was Alabama Carruthers. She was a sweet lady. And she said in her, only as she could say it, you know, if you change your attitude, you'll be a little more welcome around here, honey. Anyway, the next day, my friend Larry that lives in Nashville, I called him, and he said, how was your first meeting? I went, well, this guy made me hit him. I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything at all. I gave him $30, and they thanked me by trying to attack me. And they yelled at me, too. What else could I do? See, I hadn't done a four-step, so I had no responsibility. So that's the kind of guy I was. And for the next 18 months, I worked step none. I had no sponsor. I had no God. I had no chance. I always say this when I speak. I've had two sobrieties. I've had one sobriety with God and one sobriety without God. And the one without God was bad. It was bad. And the one with God has been really good. And I repeat that for new people. The one without God included a relapse, shame, guilt, pain, humility, just completely humiliation, sadness, frustration, anger, all the bad things. And the one with God has been really pretty good. It hasn't included a lot of money. It hasn't included any fighting wins. I haven't laid my hands on anybody in sobriety, and I'm proud of that myself, because God, I want to hit my sponsor so many times, Jesus. I said, Paul, you need to stop talking because a target just appeared on your face. And he used to say things to me like, did you hear that? I said, what? He goes, the sound of your mind closing. It's a distinctive sound. So what happened for me is that I was going right into a relapse at any time, and the fact that I went 18 months without drinking or using is just I don't know, it's just a lot of willpower, and I relapsed at an AA convention in San Antonio where I was a speaker, and I wanted to talk about God because I'd heard a guy talk about God, and he got a good response, so I wanted to say what he said. And they said, no, you're the funny guy. You got to be funny. And I said, I don't want to be funny, so I called my dealer, and he came over with a couple of grams of cocaine, and I relapsed like that, just boom, just so I could please the people at the convention, and I did. I went down. I was very funny. I have tape to prove it. You wouldn't tell. And for the next 18 months, I did not stop going to meetings, did not stop sponsoring people. I didn't even have a sponsor. I was sponsoring people. And I'm here to tell you that I never got caught. And I spoke at places where they taped it, and I can't tell the difference. And the truth is, you don't even know if I'm sober now. And I don't care. Because I know I am, and God knows I am. That's all I care about. I'm not here to impress you with my time in sobriety. And what happened for me was that at the end of 18 months, on Super Bowl Sunday of 1989, I had a massive seizure, flopping around at 4:30 in the morning because I did a little bit too much blow, and just a tiny bit. And I flopped around, and I was convinced I was going to be dead, and I tried to call the paramedics on 911, and I couldn't dial that last one. I dialed 91. Because if you dial the last one, they'll show up whether you want them to come or not. And I was willing to die rather than be embarrassed. I made a conscious decision. I said, I can't. I'm too ashamed to call anybody. I'll just have to die. And then I reconsidered that. I thought it over, and I thought, no, that's not a good idea. And I sat there, and I was on the floor, and I remember saying, God, please help me. Please help me. And he did. I know he did, because I never asked anybody else like that, and I haven't drank or used since I asked him. So I'm a big believer in the please help me part. And then I asked a sponsor to help me. And then I asked other guys to help me. And here's how I got my sponsor. I'm 7 days sober in this sobriety. The effects of the seizure have worn off. The ego has come back. The arrogance has come back. I'm no longer a newcomer like the other newcomers. I'm a circuit speaker that had a little slip. Didn't want to give up my sobriety trophy, man. You didn't want to give up that been around time. We hear it all the time, man. You know, hi, I'm Joe. I'm 3 days sober, but I've been around for 10 years. I'm Bill. I'm taking this 60-day chip, but I've taken 8 one-year cakes. I invented the been around chip. Your first time in, you're in metal, just like a medallion. It's embossed in there when your first sobriety was. And the other side is ceramic, so you can write your current time in crayon. So you won't have to get another chip, and you just rub it off every time you relapse, you know. And been around chips don't mean shit. My sponsor made me break my sobriety trophy at about 2 months of sobriety. He says, we're going to rejoice in the fact that you're sober 60 days. I don't give a shit about the fact you haven't drank in over 3 years. I don't care. He was mean. Here's how I met him. I'm 7 days sober, got this attitude. He walks up to me in the driveway at a meeting. I'd seen him for 7 days because he was there at every meeting. He said, you got a sponsor yet? And I went, no. And he went, oh, boy. Oh, man. And he walked away. Next day, he says, so you got a sponsor, right? No. Ooh, man. How long have you been sober? 8 days. Ooh. Finally, I asked my friend, I said, what does that sumbitch want? He said, he wants to sponsor you. I said, oh, no, not that arrogant prick. I'll be dead before I ask that guy. That's what he said. He said, that's what he said would happen, that you'd be dead and we'd be here. That scared me. So I said, Paul, maybe I'll ask you to sponsor me. And he said, maybe I'll tell you to go screw yourself. And he used the F word. The next day, I was so afraid of going out. Because what he said was the next day, he said, I've been screwing with you all week, but I'm going to tell you something right in your face. Quit screwing with us and get the fuck out of here. And this time, drink. And this time, do as much blow as you can. And if you don't die, you come back and call me. My name's Paul, and here's my card. Goodbye. And I thought about that, and I chased him out the driveway, and I said, Paul, would you please help me with this program? And he changed. He said, I'd be honored to. And he was my sponsor for 14 years. And when he died, it killed me. It killed me. It was the worst day of my sobriety. Almost drank over it. Hadn't had a drink in a long time. I have a bottle of Jack Daniels at my house in case I want to relapse. Because if I want to drink, I don't want to go to the store. I don't recommend that if you're new. But I actually cracked it. It took me 2 years to tell Tim, my best friend, that I cracked that Jack Daniels. Because he asked me about it. He said, how's the Jack Daniels in the cupboard? And I said, it's still there. And but he didn't know it was cracked. You know, the seal was broken, and I poured a glass. And I was going to drink it because I was hurting so bad. This guy who would spend hundreds of hours with me and save my life, he actually just died, and I was just lost. And he was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, including my family. This man was the perfect guy for me, and I wish that for any of you. He didn't care about my feelings. He cared about my sobriety. And I'm sitting there looking at this glass of Jack Daniels, wanting to drink it. I looked across my desk at a picture of Paul and I in Las Vegas. And he had signed this picture. It said, my dear Kenny, you drink, I'll kill you. Your loving sponsor, Paul. And I said, what a way to thank a guy. That's a nice way to thank him for 14 years of his time. I couldn't do it. I put the lid on it. But what I hadn't done was, I hadn't done what I did on the first day of my sobriety. I hadn't brought God into the mix to go into my bedroom and get on my knees and say, God, please help me. I'm going to drink. I'm going to fucking drink. You got to help me. So I did that. And he did. I didn't drink it. Still in my cupboard. I've added a couple other bottles. I got vodka now. That belongs to a sponsee because I told him he wants to get drunk, come over and do it here, my house. No, I tell guys, I say, you want to drink? Come over, we'll crack this bottle, I'll drink it with you. Nobody's ever tested it. I don't know what I would do. I said, fuck, I was lying. You know how alcoholics lie. I want to thank my friend Dave for asking me to come down here tonight because he's a good guy. The guy that does your tapes is a nice man, and he asked me to just close with this. I was in Nashville, and I was 3 months sober. I was doing a movie, this sobriety. They asked me to do the rap party and perform, and I had helped write the script, and I told all the other actors that I had helped write the script. I wasn't supposed to do that. And the producer was really pissed, the producer-writer. And when I asked her where I should set up, she said, I don't give a shit what you do. I don't ever see you again, son of a bitch, and blah, blah, blah. I went up to the bar, and I said, I'd like to a Coke. And the guy said, we have Cokes for mix, that's it. That's all you get. I said, well, just a soft drink will be fine. Hey, pal, read my lips. You want a drink? Great. It's mix. You want a beer? Great. You ain't getting a soda. The target appeared. And I tried three times. On the third time, I went, screw it. Give me 3 fingers of Jack Daniels right now. No ice. Ready to throw my sobriety away. Hadn't done the steps, so I didn't know anything about, better get to God quick. This dog appeared from nowhere, just out of nowhere. And this dog, the only thing significant about this dog is it looked exactly like the dog at the Chandler Lodge where I went to meetings 5 days a week at 9 a.m. This dog, it was in Nashville, looked exactly like this dog, except the dog in Chandler was a male, and this was a female. I mean, this is a male, and the one in Chandler was a female. Even to the point where one ear up and one ear down. And not a purebred, just a mutt. This dog sat there like all the alcoholics that had tried to help me, saying, you don't need to drink over this. Don't blow your sobriety over this. And I felt empowered, man. I told this guy, I said, give me a soda or I'm over the bar and down your neck, you son of a bitch. And he went, right away, sir. I must have had a look of God in my eye or something. Like I could vaporize the son of a bitch, And so I went ahead and sat on the stage over at the corner and started playing guitar, and all the cast came over and sat on the floor, and we had like a little hootenanny, little kumbaya thing, and this dog sat right by my leg the whole night. It was about 3 hours. And after it was all over with, the owner of the bar where we were shooting the film came up and he said, I see you've met Barney. I said, yeah. He said, he's a very special dog. And I said, yeah, he sure is, man. He really is. And I said, he said that dog belonged to my brother. And my brother was killed 10 days ago on I-40 head-on with a 18-wheeler in his little truck, little Datsun. And he was killed instantly, and the dog was in the car. And the dog was thrown free. And the dog, and my brother was an alcoholic who tried to get sober for 10 years and couldn't do it. And he said, and the only thing he had that he loved was that dog. And now that dog loves you. I called my sponsor, blubbering like now. I said, Paul, it's a miracle. This dog appeared out of nowhere and saved my sobriety. It's just the greatest thing. He goes, really? Okay. Maybe it's a miracle. I don't know. But you had about 18 chances to get out of there and you didn't go. You had about 18 chances to get out of there. You didn't take it. And it required that big of a thing to happen in your mind for you not to drink. Let me tell you something, Kenny Bob. Next time the dog won't be there. Next time the dog won't be there. You know, I see these bumper stickers, expect a miracle. It's a little arrogant for me to see those things. Expect a miracle. That's a little arrogant. But there are miracles here. And my miracle that happened to me was the whole Alcoholics Anonymous and the God I found here. So God bless you and thanks for having me again.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with, and it's actually controlled through the iPhone through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
Remote control's connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst, then one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.